Hello comrades, Darth Gloric here, back with part 1 of our brand new side game. We will be playing Everlasting Summer. I was only thinking that because this game, apparently this company is called Soviet Games, I guess, and so it has some severe Russian vibes going on, but whatever. So first of all, obviously I want to hop in here. All this is fine, text speed, font, language. I was just trying to see. Okay. All right, that's fine. I was looking for like subtitles or anything I needed to see, but okay. Anyway, so welcome to Everlasting Summer. This is part 1, of course. Now we just finished Take the Dream 9, I believe is what it was called. The ending sucked. It was just, I don't know. It's a very solid meh. Let's leave it at that. It's not complete garbage. It's just an incredibly solid meh. So here we are. Anyway, so I have an onslaught of free visual novels and lots of games like that on my Steam wish list. So I decided, you know what? Let's just start knocking out these. It's new. It's blind playthroughs. It could be fun. So here we are. This is another blind playthrough. I have no idea what to expect, but I am just kind of hoping that it'll be better than the last game. So here we are. Now, the last game, the other reason we are recording this is because the finale of the last one, after editing, it's going to be like 20 minutes. It's going to be very short. So because of that, I wanted to give a real, side game part. And so we're going to do about an hour of this or so. And so we'll see what happens, but I'm hopeful it'll be good. So the synopsis is interesting, and let's see what happens. It couldn't be worse. So than the last one. Anyway, and so it looks like it's fitting on screen. There's a tiny black bar to the right and on the bottom, it looks like, but that's as close as I could get it to fit perfectly. So, it'll have to do as far as what you guys are seeing. So, anyway, let's just hop into it. So, new game, Dear Pioneer, you are on the verge of wondrous discoveries. The doors of the most wonderful place in the world, our favorite camp, Savonok, has opened before you. You'll remember this session for the rest of your life. Welcome. So that's quite the intro. So here we go. Everlasting Summer. What is this, Brizzo? Huh. Anyway, I was having that dream once again. That dream. Same thing every night, but it's all forgotten in the morning as usual. Maybe it's for the best. Only a glimpse of memory will remain of gates half opened, as if inviting me somewhere, with 2 frozen stone pioneers standing close by. And also that strange girl who keeps asking me something in Russian. No, that's probably not what she was asking. Will you come with me? Come? But where? And why? And where am I anyway? Of course, if it all happened in real life, I would certainly have been scared. What else would one expect to feel? I can read sometimes. But this is just a dream. The same one I see every night. This must be a reason. There must be a reason. You don't have to know where or why to realize something is really happening. Something desperately seeking my attention. Since everything that surrounds me here is real. As real as things in my own flat. I could open the gates, hear the hinges creak, brush the crumbling rust away with my hand, inhale the fresh cool air and shiver from the cold. I could, but to do that, I would have to pick myself up, take a step, move my hand. But this is a dream. I understand that, but what of it? What does my understanding change? Because here is just like the other side of the cracked screen of an old TV, which struggles to fight against static noise and strives to show its audience everything without missing a single detail. But the picture is getting blurry. I must be waking up soon. It's true. Maybe I should ask her something. The girl. What's her name? About the stars, for instance. Why the stars, though? I'd rather ask about the gates. Yes, the gates. She would be so surprised. Or better, why the dot over an I was called a tittle, but the dot over a J is called a superscript dot. I didn't even understand that sentence. Nice letters, as if they don't exist anymore. Still, what do letters, gates, and stars have to do with this place? Because even if I'm having this dream every night, which will be forgotten soon anyway, I have got to look for answers here and now. And there, if you look carefully, you can see the, I don't know if it's like Magellanic, the clouds, all right? If it's as if I'd ended up in the southern hemisphere. Yeah, I have no idea what that word is. In a dream, there are small things that catch your attention, an unnatural color of grass, impossible curves of straight lines, or your own distorted reflection, while the real danger, which could put an end to everything right here and now, seems trivial. It's natural, since here you cannot die. I know it for sure. I've done it hundreds of times. But if you cannot die, is there a point in living? I should ask the girl. She's a local, she should know. Yes, exactly. I should ask her about the owl, for example. One strange bird it is. Though it doesn't matter. This is getting so philosophical already. Will you come with me? And every time I have to answer. It's the only way. Otherwise the dream will never end and I'll never wake up. Absolutely. I trust you. Every time it's so hard to decide on the answer. Where am I? What am I doing here? Who is she? And why does so much in my life depend on this answer? Or maybe it doesn't? It's just a dream after all. Just a dream. Would be funny if you're like, nope, and you just wake up and that's it. They're like, you chose the super short ending where nothing happens. Meanwhile, completely asleep at his computer. Obviously, he's not asleep, he's typing. Or should we go by us? I'm typing. I feel like it should be he. I think I'm on Reddit. Well, at least I have taste. I'm also tired. Apparently, can't see it. Oh, I'm on 4chan. But obviously the, royalty-free version. The computer screen stares at me as if it was alive. It is alive. I think I'm on 4chan. Anyway, sometimes it really did seem to me that it was conscious of itself, had its own thoughts and wishes, ambitions, that it had feelings, could love and suffer. As if in our relationship, the screen wasn't an instrument. It was me who was a lifeless piece of plastic and textilite. There is some truth in that, probably because the computer provides 90% of my communication with the outside world. Oh, too freaking real. Anonymous image boards, some chats from time to time, rarely ICQ and Jabber, and forums even more rarely. Oh, too freaking real, dude. People on the other side of the internet cable simply do not exist. All of them are simply creations of its sick imagination, an error of the source code, or of a kernel bug, which started living a life of its own. I feel like that's not true. I was like, well, I feel like that's not true. I think my drugs are wearing off, or they're kicking in. Depends on how you look at it. If one looked at my existence from the outside, such thoughts would seem crazy, and a psychologist would surely give me a bunch of sophisticated diagnoses, and maybe write me a doctor's referral to the loony bin. Probably. They would probably just, diagnose you with something. Like, I don't know, some sort of disorder. Most likely. So maybe this dude here, he's a hermit. He's a shut-in, possibly. A small apartment with no signs of repair or any semblance of order in it, and always the same view out the window of the gray metropolis, or megalopolis, it's like bigger than a metropolis, I guess, running somewhere day and night. Such are the conditions of my life. Oh yes, the Fields soundtrack kicking in. Well, of course it didn't all start like this. I was born, went to school, and finished it, like all the others. I was accepted at a university where I spent a year and a half trailing behind and struggling. I drifted through several jobs. Sometimes it was working out quite well. Sometimes I was even getting decent money for it. But it all felt like it was not mine, as if taken from another man's biography. I wasn't living life to its fullest. It was looping over and over in monotonous circles. Like in the movie Groundhog's Day. Oh, too real. It's just that I had no choice in how to spend my day, and every day repeated itself, the same vicious spiral. A spiral of emptiness, misery, and despair. I am right here! No, I'm kidding. For the last few years, I just sat in front of the screen all day. Sometimes there were menial jobs, sometimes my parents helped me. All in all, I was able to provide for myself. No wonder really, since my needs are quite minor. I hardly ever leave my home, and my communication with other people almost exclusively consists of online correspondence with the anonymous, who have no real name, no gender, or age. So in belief, a quite typical life of a quite typical antisocial person of his time. Kind of Donnie Darko on a minor scale, without doomsday-related visions. Sorry. Maybe some highly respected author could write a novel about me, and it'll become a contemporary classic of modern literature. Or I will write one myself. However, what's the point of fooling myself? I tried many times, but I couldn't even come up with a simple short story. I tried to learn many other things as well. not gifted enough to draw, programming, got bored, foreign languages takes too much time. The only thing I loved doing was reading, and I still never would have called myself a scholar. Perhaps I was an ace at watching anime and a grandmaster of lame internet jokes. Again, I am right here! Anyway, if I were to get paid for it, I would probably be a happier person and a richer person too, but I doubt it would fill the hole inside me. Man, there's like something in my throat, it's killing me. Today was another typical day of a typical failures typical life. And today is the day when I have to go to my university reunion. Frankly speaking, I really didn't want to. What's the point? The time I spent with them was so short. However, I was persuaded by a friend, my former university mate, and one of the few with whom I kept in touch other than through the internet. He should consider himself lucky. He's one of like 2 people that this guy knows. Apparently. Ooh, we're going to hyperspace, everybody. Hyperspace. This is a pretty game. I really like the artwork. And the sounds are really immersive. You could totally feel it. Ah, yes, I guess that's me. Oh, I look like a shut-in. He looks like he never leaves the house. A frosty evening. Bus stop, waiting. I never liked winter. Why? Those hot summers not my season either. It's just, I see no reason to point at any particular time of the year. It doesn't matter how much the weather is outside when you stay at home 24/7. Alright, I guess that's fair. The bus today was running so late that I was about to curse it all and spend my last few hundred rubles. I guess we are in Russia. Isn't that the currency of Russia? Rubles? Anyway, my last few hundred rubles for a taxi. The idea of just returning home didn't cross my mind for some reason. As usual, millions of thoughts flew through my mind, but there was not a single useful one to seize on. Such a thought that you could bring into existence, give a shape, turn into an idea, and put into practice. Maybe I could start my own business, but where would I get the money from? Or maybe I could go back to working in an office. No way. Maybe I should try freelancing, but what skills do I have and who would want me after all? Oh, this is like way too personal. I mean, like for me, like it's way too personal, way too related to me. I suddenly remembered my childhood, or rather my teen years, the time when I was 15 to 17 years old. Why exactly those years? No idea. I guess it's because back then everything was so much more simple. It was easier to make decisions, so complicated now and so simple then. Waking up in the morning, I knew exactly how my day was going to pass, and I was always eagerly looked forward to the weekend. Then I could get some rest and have time for the things I liked. Computer, football, going out with friends. And then at the beginning of next week, I'd take up my studies again. Back then, there was no such thing as questions like why, who needs it, what will change if I do it, or what will not change. A simple lifestyle, so casual for a normal person and so odd to myself today. That careless childhood age. It was also then that I met my first love. Her appearance and personality had vanished from my memory. Only her name remains, like a brief line from a social network profile, along with the feelings which overwhelmed me when I was with her. Affection, tenderness, the desire to care for her and to protect her. Sadly, it didn't last long. Today, I can hardly imagine something like that happening. I would probably like to meet a girl, but I don't know how to start a conversation, what on earth to discuss, and how to attract her. Again, I am right here. Well, I haven't met any suitable girls for a long time, but where would I meet one anyway? Yeah, like I said, this is like way too personal. The sound of an engine brought me back to reality. A bus pulled over. There was something abnormal about it, I thought. Then again, it doesn't matter, only the 410 runs this route. That's true, you only got one option, you can't be picky. Yeah, the art style in this game is really cool. And then obviously the sound, like adding with it, it's like so perfect. Okay, well that's not good. Street lights pass me by. It's as if their cold lights sparks inside of me, trying to ignite feelings long dead. Or maybe not ignite, just awaken them. Because those feelings, they have been living in me for a long time, slumbering and waking up again. The driver's radio was playing some very familiar tune, but I wasn't listening to it. I was watching the cars passing by through the fogged-up window, because people are always rushing somewhere, chasing something they need, stuck in their own little worlds. Why would they care about mine? They probably have their own serious problems, or maybe much easier lives. You can't know for sure, since all people are different. Or are they? Sometimes someone's actions can easily be predicted, but if you try to look inside his soul, you will only see impenetrable darkness. The bus was approaching downtown, and my thoughts were interrupted by the bright city lights. Hundreds of billboards, thousands of cars, millions of people. I watched this light show, and somehow I got terribly sleepy. Probably because you stay up all night. My eyes closed just for a moment, and then the bus crashed and I died. No, that's probably not what's gonna happen here. That's probably not what's gonna happen here. Ooh, wow, we have like a moving intro and everything. The art style is really cool. Again, I know I've said that twice, but it does its job just fine. This is well done. It's like watching an anime. I love it. Ooh, suddenly things have gotten a lot greener. You think this is like the night bus from Harry Potter? It's a girl. Oh, yeah, do you think that's his first? That's okay, maybe not. I was gonna say, do you think that's his first crush? But I'm actually wondering if that's not the case. I have no idea how to pronounce any of their names. I'm hoping they will spell it out in like simple, just something written, because I can't pronounce any of that. I don't even know what. Obviously, I'm pretty sure it's Russian. I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's just similar dialogue, but I have no idea what I'm reading. I do know we got lots of cool options. It says Endless Summer. I know that because it's the name of the game. Oh, that's the really cool intro, though. Very cool. I feel like we got kind of an idea what we're getting into. Day 1. All right, I'm ready. Hit me. Not figuratively, please. Not literally. I'm fragile. Bright daylight struck my eyes. Oh, I think did the icons change? They're like leaves now? I don't think they were leaves before. Anyway, bright daylight struck my eyes. At first, I didn't pay attention, as I wasn't fully awake yet. On their own, my legs carried me towards the door. Damn, looks like I fell asleep and missed my stop. Looks like my name is Semyon? But there was no door. I looked around the bus and realized it wasn't a good old worn out Lias. Instead, the bus was an Icarus model, a new one. I froze in shock. How? What? Am I dead? Have I been kidnapped? No, I must be dead. I patted myself down feverishly, slapped myself painfully in the face a few times, banged my forehead on the back of one of the bus seats. It's clear, either I'm still alive or you can still feel pain when you're dead. But how could this happen? Maybe I slept for too long and I ended up at the bus depot. And then what? Did they put me onto another bus? I rushed out and took a look around. Greenery wherever I looked. Tall grass on the roadside. Trees. Flowers. Summer. But how? It was winter just a moment ago. My head was aching unbearably, as if it was going to explode. Probably because you just slapped yourself and rammed your face into the wall. Slowly, I began to remember. He, like, vaguely remembers when he watched winter disappear. Ooh, it's not pretty. A long road running off into the distance. Forests, plains, fields, lakes, and forests again. I think I was sleeping, but then how can I remember all of it? And then, a gap. Some girl leaning over me. She softly whispered something into my ear. Then a gap again. Ooh. And then I woke up here. Who was that strange girl? Or was she just a dream? For some reason, thinking about her made me feel better and calmed me down a little. I felt warmth all over, coming from the inside. Could it be her who brought me here? Then I need to find her. And then the best place to look for her is away from here. I rushed to the left, then to the right, then stopped, hesitating over where to go. Finally, I ran in the direction from which the bus had probably came. I mean, they say, hey, it's really pretty, bro, wherever you are. Physical exercise does refresh one's mind. Thoughts become clear, and it gets a little easier to evaluate the surrounding reality. But in my case, however, I was sitting on the roadside, wheezing and trying to ease my sore throat by gulping breaths of hot air. And in any case, the run did its job. The fear withdrew for a little. Maybe I really am just dreaming. Though recalling my self-harm on the bus, I immediately rejected the idea. I am neither dreaming nor dead. A narrow road ran through the field and far into the distance. That exact same road from my dream. I must be very far away from home, and it's not just that it was winter yesterday and it's summer now. It's the whole environment. Of course, summer is usually like this, green and hot, but here everything is not entirely lifelike. Everything looks like it was taken from the paintings of a Russian landscape artist of the 19th century. The grass is just too lush. The bushes are not like what bushes should be. They're so thick that they can't see anything through them, like treetops, honestly. And the trees themselves. The forest is quite far away, but the trees looked as if they had closed their ranks and were now just waiting for the order to advance onto the fields and plains. I caught my breath and looked at the bus, which was now barely visible. That was a good run. Fear overtook me once again. Those power lines. There must be people here. But what does it mean? In fact, that means nothing at all. Couldn't they have power lines even in hell? Roasting sinners over hot coals? That's so last century. I must have reached the point of no return, after which you should either lose your mind completely or finally try to understand what is going on. And while I still have a choice, I should pick the second option. I slowly headed back to the bus. Of course it was scary, but I'm not likely to find an answer in the fields or the woods, and this wretched bucket of bolts is the only kind of link that I have with the real world. I guess that's fair. I should carefully scout the area. Meets Owlet? Anyway, a brick wall and its gates crowned with a... Oh man, all these Russian words. Sovyonok sign, statues of pioneers standing on either side, and a road sign nearly showing the bus route number 410. This trip's taking a bit too long today. I smirked. A person may start acting inappropriately in extreme situations. Something like that is probably happening to me now. This place doesn't look abandoned at all. No rust on the gates, no damage on the walls. Sovyonok. Sovyonok? I have no idea how to pronounce that. What could have a name like that? Judging by the pioneer statues, it could be a kid's summer camp. Moreover, it means to be open. Moreover, it appears to be open. Of course, the simplest explanation, logically speaking, explains nothing at all. The strange girl, the altered bus, summer, the pioneer camp. Thousands of theories went through my mind instantly, from alien abduction to lethargic sleep, from a hallucination to a time and space shift. None was worse than any other, but there was really no way to pick a single one. Then it occurred to me, I can try to make a phone call. I took out my cell phone and dialed the first number from my contact list. It sounds like it didn't work. But instead of signal strength bars, the screen was showing a thick cross. Alright, there may be no signal in such a remote place, though I cannot be the only one who came here. Buses don't drive themselves. That's true, there might be a bus driver. I examined the bus from all sides to make sure that it wasn't a hallucination. Bits of dirt on the bottom, some rust here and there, faded paint and worn out tires. No, this is definitely a very ordinary bus. Yeah, exactly the kind of bus which takes you to places beyond your understanding if you carelessly fall asleep. I gave a nervous chuckle. It came out by itself, sporadically. Because this wasn't the right place or time to laugh. But where on earth is the driver? I cautiously sat down on the curb beside the bus and started to wait. I like how curb is spelled with a K. It's like hardcore curb. Anyway. It's like curb, but Russian curb. My patience didn't last long. My anxiety seemed to have reached its peak, and I started to go slightly mad. In such a situation, anyone would have probably felt something similar. Aliens and parallel universes were gone from my imagination, leaving only void and darkness. Is this how everything will end? How my life will end? But I wanted to do so much. There were so many things that I had no time for yet. I was overwhelmed by the idea. This was definitely the end. But why? It's not fair. Suddenly, I'm no worse than anyone else. Or surely, I'm no worse than anyone else. God, why? Bro, I wouldn't be so hard on yourself, man. I feel like this is kind of an upgrade. I mean, it's not winter anymore, which I prefer the winter, but it's probably hot, but it's green. You know, that's a good thing. Anyway, and you were so lethargic earlier that this kind of feels like an improvement. Tears were burning my eyes unbearably. I curled up and started rolling in the grass. Why? What did I do? Why me? But my cries were only heard by the speechless statues of the pioneers and a bird on a tree, which immediately flapped its wings and took off, crying out something in its bird language, as if laughing at the idiot who dared to interrupt its after-dinner nap. I was left breathless from weeping and just lay quietly, sobbing occasionally. Well, he's a sad boy. After a while, I managed to pull myself together. My mind cleared up a bit, as if terror and the fear of death gave me a little break. All in all, if someone wanted to kill me, what is all this for? It doesn't look like an experiment either. If this is just some crazy coincidence, then there's probably no threat. Anyway, for now it seems there's no danger. The panic was soon gone. Of course, the blood was still pounding in my temples, and my hands were still shaking, but at least I could think clearly now. Right now, there is nothing I can really change anyway. So no matter how much I think or how mad I get, it would only make things worse. Until some actual facts appear, there is really no point in making guesses. In any case, I won't learn anything by lounging around here. It's an excellent point. This camp, if of course it really is a camp, looked like the only place where people could be, so I decided to go there, and hardly had I reached the gates when a girl came out from behind them, wearing a pioneer uniform. My logic didn't let me down this time. Then again, a pioneer uniform in the 21st century, and then again a girl here. I froze, unable to take a step. I felt very much like running away, running as far away as I could from this place, far from the bus, the gates, statues, and far from this bloody bird with its siesta. Just running, free like the wind, faster and faster, waving to the planets passing by, winking at the galaxies, running, becoming a pulsar ray, and turning into a something radiation, running to face the unknown. Run no matter where, as long as it is far away from this place. Meanwhile, the girl came closer and smiled. I could not help but notice her beauty, even though I was trembling with fear. Human instincts work independent of consciousness, and while only 5% of the brain is responsible for cognitive processes, the remaining 95% are always busy sustaining life, and in particular, ensuring stable functioning of the hormonal system. I desperately wanted to get less complicated and stop thinking in formal quotes from an encyclopedia, though my thoughts appeared one by one, being stupid, out of place, as if taken from an internal monologue of the hero of some junky, soft-cover crime fiction book. A pretty Slavic face, long braids that looked like 2 armfuls of fresh hay, and blue eyes you could drown in. Hi, you must have just arrived? Yeah, reply. Yeah. Alright then, welcome. She smiled broadly. Strange. It looked as if I had just had a normal girl in front of me. Why is that? I mean, obviously something really strange is happening, but I feel like that she doesn't exactly look like a killer, okay? Calm down. But I should never turned here. The woods and the fields seem better. I disagree. She's hot. Anyway, but what shall I do next? Try to speak with her as if she was a human, or run away, or what? The blood was pumping unbearably in my head, tearing it apart from the inside. A little bit more, and the poor pioneer girl would be splattered with the gruesome contents of my skull. Well, that's dark. What's so funny about that? The girl looked me over. She sent shivers down my spine, and my knees started to tremble. Nothing. Great, then. Great? What's so great about that? Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. To hell with it all. Forget about the bus behind me. The fact that it was winter yesterday and summer today. I wanted to rip off my itchy sweater and just accept that this is all actually happening. Everything is as it should be. All this is for the best. Would you happen to know? You should go over to a camp leader. She'll tell you everything. Look, you go straight ahead to the square, then turn left. You'll see several small cabins. She pointed at the gates, as if I knew what was behind them. Well, you can ask... Oh, hang on. Is a derivative of a person's father's name, in this case Dmitri, put by Russians after the person's first name as a sign of respect or a formal address. Okay, let me back that up. A derivative of a person's father's name, in this case Dmitri, put by Russians after the person's first name as a sign of respect or formal address. Okay. All right, I think I can understand that. So her name is Olga, and looks like Dmitri is her last name, possibly, and then obviously combined with the other part. So I guess maybe her name is Olga. I don't know. Anyway, you can ask someone where Olga's cabin is. Got it? Of course I didn't. Well, I've got to go now. The girl waved her hand at me and disappeared through the gates. It seemed as if to her I was something ordinary. And all this show with the bus and the travels while awake or asleep were troubling only to me, while everything here is just the way it was supposed to be. Camp leader, pioneer uniform. What, are they doing a historical reenactment here? I hope I won't find Lenin standing atop an armored car in the square, but that would not surprise me right now. After standing alone for a while, I headed into the camp. Lenin, like John Lennon? Probably not. Anyway, a mere 50 meters ahead, a small one-story house popped up on the left side. I swear I'm not reading like that way because I'm simple. It takes my brain a minute to catch up sometimes. The sign near the door said clubs. I was about to come closer when the door suddenly opened and a short girl wearing a pioneer uniform came out. Her pretty face gave me the impression of one suffering for the fate of the whole of mankind with a truly universal sorrow. As soon as she saw me, the girl froze as if frightened. I froze too, considering what was the best to do, to approach first, or wait until she showed some initiative, or maybe run away after all. Although that last option was constantly being suggested, only by my self-preservation instinct, at least that's what I'd like to believe. Not the worst human instinct, but far from the most logical. If this instinct played poker against its deductive abilities, the outcome would be predetermined. And those deductive abilities, or at least their semblance, were hinting to me that there was no need to be afraid of this girl. Suddenly, someone jumped out of nearby bushes. A girl wearing a bright red t-shirt with USSR written on it. Really? Like, what is happening right now? Such a perfect reproduction of the age. She looked quite short from a distance and was probably younger than both Pioneer girls, the one at the gates and this girl at the door of the clubs. At last I decided to come closer, but the USSR, as I called her in my mind, jumped towards the first girl and started telling her something while wildly waving her arms. The other girl in turn seemed confused and lowered her gaze, remaining silent. I would have probably continued to observe their amusing dialogue, but the USSR suddenly pulled something out of her pocket and started waving it in front of the first girl's face. This something turned out to be a grasshopper. Insert screaming here, I'm not gonna scream, you get it. The first girl squealed. She must not be too keen on insects, as she instantly rushed off towards the place where Lenin presumably made his speech about the workers' and peasants' revolution. That is to say, towards the square. The USSR glanced at me, grinned playfully, and dashed after her. Not a bad start to the day. I have absolutely no clue where I am. Besides that, there are some kids here role-playing as pioneers. And as far as I can tell, this place is located thousands of kilometers away from my home. It might even be in a different reality. And this was indeed a reality. I mean, everything around me seemed so real, if a little embellished, that I was starting to think that in fact my previous life could have been just a dream. And what am I supposed to do now? Well, I'd say go follow that first girl's advice and go talk to a leader. I was picking at the cracked paving stones with my shoe and staring aimlessly at the club's building. Just a few more seconds before I had to come up with some decision. And that's when I recalled myself rolling on the grass weeping. I cringed in disgust. Perhaps it's another instinct. With all energy for whimpering and self-pitying is used up, the body either goes into hibernation or mobilizes its reserves. Mine seemed to have chosen the second option because out of the blue I found the determination to figure out what was going on. And in order to do that, I had to act like a man, like a human, to maintain the dignity of a representative of my own world. Attaboy, he picked himself up, he's okay. I followed the path to the left, on the right side of which stood small cabins, apparently the homes of the local pioneers. Holy crap, sorry. I accidentally hit the scroll wheel and it went back. Actually, they looked quite cozy from the outside. Even though I was born in the Soviet Union, I never had been part of its children's organizations, neither the Pioneers nor even the younger October children. I imagined the daily life of a typical Pioneer camp a bit differently. Huge barracks with long rows of metal bunks, wake-up call at 6 o'clock played by a siren, 1 minute to make your bed, then joining the formation at the drill square. Or, wait, could I be confusing it with something else? Suddenly something struck me in the back. I staggered but remained on my feet, turned around, and prepared to fight heroically for my life. Yeah, she's not exactly threatening, but all I found was another girl standing before me. My mouth hung open in surprise. Pick your jaw up off the ground. I closed my mouth. The same Pioneer uniform, but the way she was wearing it, it looked, let's say, provocative. I agree. Like all of the girls I had met here before, this one was rather cute, but her overly arrogant expression killed any desire to get to know her better. I disagree. New here, are you? Silence. Fine, see ya. She threw a threatening glance at me and walked past. I waited for the Pioneer girl to turn at the corner. Who knows what else she might have been up to. The most interesting thing was that even this hostile girl seemed completely normal to me. She did not give off the feeling of some deadly danger, except maybe the danger of being punched in the nose. That's true, I guess that's fair. At last I managed to make it to the square, where there was no Lenin on an armored car, although one could easily expect something like that after all this had happened. Instead, however, a monument to a certain comrade towered in the middle of the square. The letters on the pedestal read, Genda? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Must be some big figure in the party. There was some small benches at the sides. It's quite pleasant here. Where did that girl tell me to go? To the left or to the right? To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Where am I going? Why am I going there anyway? Oh, right, I decided to pretend to be normal. So, to the right. I think she said to the left, you idiot. Through a small grove. I came out at a pier. I must have taken a wrong turn. I know, she said left, I think. Hey, wrong way. I turned toward the voice. It's the waifu! That first girl stood before me. Now what did I tell you? Take a left at the square, wasn't it? She had changed from her Pioneer uniform into a bikini. Oh, I still haven't introduced myself. My name is Slavia. Slavia? Actually, my full name is Slavana, but everyone calls me Slavia. Darn it! All these Russian names, I can't pronounce this stuff. So you can too. Yeah, I still feel a bit confused, so I could not come up with some meaningful answer. And what's your name? It felt like she could see right through me. Semyon. Semyon? Nice to meet you, Semyon. I don't know how to pronounce his name either. Alright, I'm almost done here. Could you wait here a minute? I'm gonna go change, and then we'll go to Olga together. Agreed? Agreed. After this exchange, she ran off. She ran off. I sat on the pier and fell and let my feet hang into the water. I was wearing heavy winter boots, but in such weather there was nothing wrong with getting my feet wet. Furthermore, it let me cool myself a little. Looking at the river, I was brainstorming and processing everything that had happened. If this is some kind of conspiracy, it's a weird one, even too friendly at times. No, it really looks more like a random event. Some entirely incomprehensible random event. Shall we go? Slavia was standing beside me, dressed in the Pioneer uniform again. Let's go. I've been here for a very short time, but of all the people I've met, she looks the least suspicious. I agree. However, this fact is already suspicious itself. Good heaven. We walked to the square. Hey look, it's people we know. The USSR girl and the girl who hit me on the back were there, chasing each other. Is that some kind of game they're playing? Ulyana? Ulyana, enough running. I'll tell everything to Olga. Aye, aye, Captain. I don't know which one was which. I decided not to question Slavia for a while about what was going on or the local residents. Better meet with this mysterious Olga first. Sounds like she's the boss here. And it's certainly what it sounds like. We walked past the rows of almost identical cabins, some of which looked like fat beer barrels, while others looked more like household sheds. Finally, Slavia stopped in front of a smallish one-story cabin. It looked like an artist's painting. The faded paint, chipping here and there with age, was sparkling in the sun. The window shutters, slightly ajar, were swaying almost unnoticeably in the wind, and huge lilac bushes were growing at the sides. It seemed as if this ramshackle hut was drowning in a storm of purple silk and the lilacs, like some elemental force were inexorably destroying the troop leader's house. What are you standing around for? Let's go. Slavia snapped me out of my daydreaming. And stop teasing Lena already. Oh, jeez. Rena? Sounds like there's someone inside. Indeed, a moment later the door swung open and Ulyana ran out and dashed past with the same mischievous grin. Apparently, Ulyana is the young girl. And who was the homicidal maniac? The pigtail girl came out next. Don't let it bother you, Lena. So her name is Lena. Gotta be thankful it's not Rena, at least. But I don't. Instead of finishing her sentence, she blushed and quickly headed towards the square. For some reason, I felt like turning and following her with my eyes, but Slavia said, "Come." We entered the cabin. Inside, it looked something similar to what I'd imagined. 2 beds, a table, a couple of chairs, a simple carpet on the floor, a wardrobe. Nothing special, but at the same time, it felt homelike and cozy, although this room was almost in the same state of disorder as my own flat. The girl standing near the window appeared to be about 25 years old. Nature had obviously gifted her with a pretty face and a good body. At least one thing can keep you happy in this pandemonium. The locals are beautiful. I noticed that too, actually. You're finally here. Excellent. My name is Olga. I'm the camp leader. Nice to meet you. I'm Semyon. I decided to talk as if I wasn't surprised by anything that was going on. That is a good move. She came closer. Pretend to assimilate. They'll never know. We've been expecting you since early morning. You've been expecting me? Yes, of course. And what does the next bus come? And when does the next bus come? Why do you need it? Yeah, why would I need it? Guess I shouldn't ask direct questions. The people here may react to them quite unlike how I'd prefer. And I doubt I'd get any answers. No reason, just curious. By the way, where are we exactly? Our mailing address, I mean. I wanted to send a letter to my parents and tell them I got here fine. For some reason, I had the desperate idea that if I played along, I'd figure something out. Oh, but your parents called just half an hour ago. Send their regards to you. Now that's a surprise. So, can I call them? Because I forgot to tell them something before I left. No. She gave me a sweet, spontaneous smile. Why not? We don't have a phone here. Then how come my parents make a call here? I just come back from the district central town. I talked to them there. Ah, so that's how it is. And can I somehow get to the town? No. She kept with the same smile. Why not? Because the next bus only comes in a week. I decided not to inquire how the troop leader managed to get there and back. I would get no answer anyway. That's fair. At this time, Slavia was standing next to me and seemed to find nothing odd in our conversation. Oh, we need to find a uniform for you. I've got absolutely no desire to put on a pioneer shorts or to wear the ridiculous red neckerchief. However, wearing winter clothes in summer isn't a great idea either, yet you're probably sweating. Right, thank you. I wonder if I'm the only one here who finds it strange for someone wearing a coat and winter boots in such heat. Rightio, I'll be off then, and you can get yourself acquainted with the camp. Don't forget to come to dinner in the evening. Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. No, walked is not the right word. She rushed out. I ended up alone with Slavia. I must go too, got things to do. Take a walk, look around the camp a bit. See you in the evening. If there is no threat or catch in this, then this reality, as embodied by Slavia, becomes more and more appealing. That's true, man. I don't think this reality is all that bad. For the first time today, I realized that it was awful hot here. No kidding. Although obviously my winter clothes were to blame for that. I took off my coat and dropped it onto the bed. My pullover followed it. I was now wearing only the shirt. Wow, he was like 3 layers deep. No wonder it was so hot. That's much better. All I could do now was follow their advice and go look around the camp. I'll try to find something out in the meantime. It's true, we gotta find some clues. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer guy coming my way. It's actually a male, can you believe it? And it was really a pioneer guy, not a pioneer girl. Apparently there were men even in this kingdom of Amazons. Kingdom of Amazons. That is fair, though. Only seen beautiful girls up to this point. Hello, you're new here. You must be Semyon, right? And how do you... Everyone knows already. I'm Electronic? Is that really his name? Yep, Electronic, by the way, but with a K, so it's cool. I'm Electronic, by the way. The real one. You can call me that. Electronic, the real one. Things were going from crazy to completely insane. Electronic was a robot character appearing in popular Soviet film and book series. He looked like an exact copy of a school kid called Sergei Chizkov. Interesting. All right. Ulyana also calls me Cheesy. Cheesy? On toast with mushrooms? That sounds disgusting, because my last name is Chizkov. I see. Let me show you around. I accepted his offer, as it would have taken much longer to get to know this place alone. Fine, let's go. I wonder if there's if I could hit a button instead. We ended up at the square again. Oh, that's not it. I was just curious. Ah, there, you can save anytime. I mean, hey, well, while we're here. I don't know if you, there we go. All right, maybe we'll try space next. No, hang on, return. There we go, okay. I was like, I've made a grave mistake. We ended up at the square again. There we go, space. I can do it with space. That's convenient. As if this place was all there is to the camp. Lena was sitting on one of the benches reading some book. Electronic confidently approached her. I like how I stumbled on the word confidently. Hello, Lena. Meet the new guy, Semyon. He started briskly. Hello. Well, you could say we've already met, in a way. Yes. She looked away from the book for a moment, glanced at me, blushed, and went back to reading, as if not noticing that we were still here. Alright, let's go on. I was at first surprised that in meeting, this girl was reduced to a couple of words, but then I thought that it was better that way. Electronic's vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's shyness. Let's go. Next we came to a building which I instantly identified as a canteen. And this here, I know this is where you consume organic food. I don't know why you had to say it like that. Yeah, something like that. Oh, right, because of the whole I'm a robot thing. Right, okay. On the canteen's porch stood the unfriendly girl who hit me on the back earlier. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in the blink of an eye. Really, now is not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he is quite hilarious. First, I need to figure out what's what here, or at least where I am. Her over there, that's Alyssa. At least I can pronounce the first part. That's Alyssa. Be careful around her. He spoke in a whisper. Don't ever risk calling her Devache. She doesn't like that. Deva, maybe? Means two in Russian. The whole nickname sounds exactly like 2CHs in Russian, a reference to our anonymous image board. Okay, it's a website. Got it. It's a website. Got it. What did you say? What did you call me? She must have heard him. In the blink of an eye, Alyssa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us. All right, you'll manage from here onwards. Do you like how the heavy metal music kicks in? You're like, whoa, this got intense. Electronic took to his heels. Should we go after him? I kind of want to do nothing just to see what she does to me. Bail, I'm scared. I decided that I had no wish to come across this aggressive Alyssa girl again and darted after Electronic. Yeah, I mean, she's hot, but she also looks deadly, so let's stay away. Running to the square, I lost sight of him, but, the Alyssa, that's her first name, but Alyssa wasn't chasing me either. However, I really should not risk calling her that, even in my mind. After catching my breath, I decided why I had reacted like I wondered why I had reacted like that. Alright, she is a girl, an aggressive one, but why run away? Failing to find a good answer, I sat down on a bench and stared at the monument to Genda. I mean, well, the Electronic ran away too. I was just following his lead. I am tempted. I am wondering if I should have not done anything at all. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Looks like I'll have to kill time alone waiting for dinner. I decided to go east, at least in the direction where east would be in my world. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. A game was in full swing there. I guess watching it watching it for a bit wouldn't do any harm. In my childhood and teen years, I was not a bad player myself, and I even thought of going professional, but a few injuries in the row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of an uncertain chance in the game. Kids of different ages were running around the pitch. I could see a boy of about 10 and a girl of about 14. A girl. Hey, that's Ulyana. Alright, so she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems a restless one after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Hey you, Ulyana shouted. Wanna play? I didn't know how to answer. On one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move into my situation could be a final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable for the weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. Pause. I don't know if you can just like... You want to overwrite? Yes. Alright. So sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot without jeans would be simply unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turned around, and walked back. I was followed by Ulyana's screams about my pants or about me being a pansy or something like that. He's like, yeah, whatever. I'm in jeans. Evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty after a day wasted with no real purpose. I came back to the square, sat down on a bench, and gave an exhausted sigh. I'd better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it's easier to search for answers when you're not hungry. They do give food to the people here, right? You know, it's curious how the simplest human need can break the will to ponder on things, to strive for something. For example, I feel hungry now, so I care much less about where I am or what is happening to me. Could great people also be affected by this? And in that case, how did Spartacus start the slave uprising in ancient times? I can only conclude that I am not a great person, and it does not really matter what mechanism I serve as a gear in, society, the Matrix, or a weird pioneer camp. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light pole. It must be the dinner call. I headed towards the canteen. It was a good thing that now I knew where it was. That's true. Olga was there, standing on the porch. I stopped and looked closely at her as if I was expecting something. She looked back at me for a while, but at last came closer. Semyon, what are you waiting for? Come in already. Guess nothing bad can happen if I go with her. My stomach backed me up there. I agree. Wow, there's actually a lot of people here. The two of us went inside. The canteen looks like a canteen. I'd had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the walls and on the floor, unsophisticated tableware with the occasional crack. Guess that's what a canteen in the pioneer camp's supposed to look like. Semyon, wait a moment, we'll find a place to sit. She looked around the place. That's the Alyssa, that's her name. Alyssa, hold it right there. Olga shouted at Alyssa, who was passing by. What? What's up with your clothes? Anything wrong with them? Indeed, her attire looks somewhat provocative. Get your uniform nice and neat right now. All right. Alyssa got her shirt right and walked past, shooting an unpleasant glare at me. So, where can you find a place to sit? Or where can we? There wasn't a lot of free seats. Go over there, next to Ulyana. Yeah, it's fine. The food's already on the table, too. I had no other choice but to accept. Of course, that was probably that the cutlets were poisoned with, curare? I have no idea. The mashed potatoes generously seasoned with arsenic? Isn't that poison? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. And the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. Oh, then maybe he's not messing around. He did say arsenic, and he definitely said antifreeze, so, you know. In common Russian language, Codletta? Cutlet is minced meat, fried or baked in the shape of a ball or a cylinder, close to American patties. Compote is a drink made of boiling fresh and dried fruit to a large amount of water. Something in French. Okay. I'm glad that they have these little handy dictionary definitions up top, because there's a lot I don't understand here. Cultural differences and all. But it all looked so tasty that I had no choice to resist. No chance to resist. Hey, what do you want? I replied rather rudely to Ulyana, who was sitting next to me. Why didn't you play football with us? Because of my clothes, said I, pointing at the source of the problem. Oh, all right then, eat. However, there wasn't much left to eat. My cutlet was missing from the plate. Only she could have done it. No, more precisely, none but Ulyana could have done it. Give me back my cutlet. In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It'll cost you a cutlet if you're careless. Give it back, I'm telling you. Can you save at the moment? Oh, you can. Cool, we can save it on the fly. That's a good thing. I feel like I would say no. I mean, come on, we're not a child. See, I don't have it. And indeed, Ulyana's plate was empty. It seemed that this little girl eats as fast as she steals someone's cutlets. Take it easy, we'll work something out now. She grabbed my plate and ran off. There was no point in following her. If they wanted to poison me here, they could have done it in a much easier way. About a minute later, Ulyana returned and handed me the plate with a steaming hot cutlet on it. See? Told you shouldn't have been aggressive. There was no point. Here's one for the starving. Thanks. It was all I could say. I was so hungry that my suspicions were gone in a flash. I feel like he's too suspicious. Like, calm down, bro. They don't really give off the vibe of killers. Anyway, I picked up the cutlet with my fork and... What the... Some bug. No, not a bug. An insect. It's almost the same thing, isn't it? It's got legs and it's wriggling. I'm pretty sure it's a centipede. The plate fell to the floor and broke into pieces. The chair hit me hard on my leg while falling. I've disliked insects since I was a child, but when those creepy crawlies appear in my plate, that was just way too much. You little... Ulyana seemed ready for such a twist and was already at the door, laughing as if she had heard a fresh stand-up comedy joke. I dashed after her. What, you gonna run out and beat her to death? She's like 14. Calm down. We ran out of the canteen. We were just a few dozen meters apart, and I felt I could catch this little girl easily. We ran through the square, past the club's house, and onto the forest path. I started to gasp for breath. Yeah, it's because should have quit smoking, I guess. Ha! He's a smoker and he's out of shape. Ulyana passed out of sight on the next turn. It can't be true that she managed to get away from me. Well, you're a smoker and you're not in shape. She seems to run a lot. I guess it makes a little bit of sense. It simply can't. I stopped and tried to catch my breath again. Well, I mean, you just admitted you were a smoker. Night was falling. Looks like I'm lost. It's a bad idea to stay in the woods at night. Better get back to the camp. However, I had absolutely no idea which way to go. Well, gotta choose at random. He's like, I choose left. Or right. Started wandering. I wandered for quite some time in the forest and even thought of crying for help, but finally I saw a camp's fence beyond the trees. Everything fell back into place. The bus is gone, I mumbled quietly. On the one hand, there was nothing strange about that. The bus couldn't stay here forever. On the other hand, it meant that there was someone driving, because buses do not drive themselves. Or do they? This world seemed too normal, but every event here had at least two explanations for it. An ordinary, real, everyday explanation, and a surreal one. Certainly the driver could have just been off for a snack, but I left too soon, and that's why. In any case, this is not the place for me. Whether that bus drives itself or not was probably an important question, but it was much more important to know where I had gotten here, or how I got here at all, and where this here was. It's true, man, bigger problems. The fields and the woods stretching towards the horizon had no answers. There was nothing familiar about them. He starts like wandering and it's like midnight and he starves to death out in the forest. A strange, odd, and alien world. However, at the same time, it was absolutely not frightening. Either my self-preservation instinct decided to resign from its job, or all this running around the camp and the local pioneers had lulled me so much that their carefree normality that I was simply forgetting that what had happened to me just a couple of hours ago. Although I probably just had no strength left to worry. All I wanted was some peace, calmness. I wanted to just have a break from it all. Only after that would I continue looking for answers, ready and reloaded. However, that would be sometime later. And what about now? Can I allow myself to relax? I don't know. Can you? I would say yes. I'd say you're way too suspicious. Take a deep breath. It got completely dark, and in any case, it was better to spend the night in the camp. I was about to head back when someone came up silently from behind. Hello, what are you doing here so late? It was Slavia standing before me. I was so surprised that I jumped. So you didn't catch Ilyana, did you? She smiled. I nodded disappointedly and sighed. No wonder. No one ever has. Yeah, she's a real rocket girl. She could have found a better use for her energy than looking for adventures. You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have dinner after all. Indeed, I completely forgot about my hunger, but after those words of hers, my stomach drew attention to itself by giving a tremendous rumble. Slavia smiled. Let's go then. What, is the canteen still open? It's alright, I have the keys. The keys? Yep, I have the keys to all the facilities in the camp. How come? Well, I'm something like the camp's leader's aide here. I see. Well, let's go. It was an offer you can't refuse. It's true, man. When you're hungry, nothing else matters. When we reached the square, Slavia stopped in her tracks. Excuse me, I should warn my roommate that I'll be late, so she's so punctual herself that she'd be worried otherwise. You go on to the canteen and I'll come in a minute, alright? Alright. I really did not expect to find someone aside from myself there at such a late hour, and that somebody was apparently trying hopelessly to open the door. Without any secret thoughts, I walked up onto the porch. Hey, look who it is. The lockpicker turned out to be Alyssa. I should have probably kept off and waited. She looked at me intently for a while, then said, Don't just stand there, give me a hand or something. Meaning, help me open the door. Why? Because I want some buns and kefir? Dinner wasn't big enough. Is that really a good idea? Aren't you hungry yourself? Ilyana didn't let you have a normal dinner, did she? She smiled sarcastically. It's true, she didn't. It's fine, Slavia will come now and... What? Guess I shouldn't have said that. I'm off then, and you'll pay for this. You owe me 2 already. Having said that, Alyssa disappeared into the night. And what was the first one? He's like, I don't know why that girl is so mean. Slavia didn't keep me waiting for too long. Is everything alright? Yeah. Why are you asking? No reason, it's nothing. It would be better if I didn't tell her about Alyssa. Everything's fine. I said that and immediately heard a note of dishonesty in my voice. Well, shall we go? As for Slavia, she seemed not to have noticed anything. He's like, even I could tell I'm lying. Or at least she was pretending she hadn't. It's true. We entered the canteen. Wait a bit, I'll go get something. I will go get something, I meant to say. I sat down on a chair and obediently waited for my savior. Oh, we're having a moment? My dinner was simple, a few buns and a glass of whatever that is. No wonder, I bet Hungry Pioneers finished everything off. However, even that was far better than most of my usual diet. Slavia sat across the table and looked at me while I was eating. Is there something on my face? No, just... She smiled. So how did you like your first day at the camp? Well, I don't really know. It's silly to ask someone who suddenly found himself in a different reality whether he liked the food in the canteen, the camp leader, or his assigned hut. It's alright, you'll soon get used to it. Slavia stared out the window dreamily. Frankly speaking, I have no desire to get used to such things, but as for her, she doesn't know. Or at least she wants me to think that she doesn't. Well, all in all, it's nice here. I had to somehow break the awkward silence. Do you think so? She asked without any interest. Yeah, this place is so... I wanted to say retro, but I managed to hold that back. After all, it was retro for me, but what about them? It might be the only kind of life they knew. If the term life was applicable here at all. So how? She watched me closely, as if something important depended on my answer. Well, I don't know. Lovely. Yeah, it's lovely here. I guess you're right. She smiled again. It's very good that you think so. Why? Well, not everyone likes it here. And what about you? Me? Yeah. I love it here. It's great. Then you don't need to worry about what other people think. Well, I don't really worry. Slavia laughed. This conversation seemed to be leading me far astray from where I wanted to get to. And you're worried yourself. Really? Why do you say so? Well, when someone is chewing so intensely... I'm sorry. It's okay. I couldn't bring myself to be more cautious around this girl. But why her in particular? Why not any other local inhabitant? Every one of them looked completely normal to me. Precisely normal, so normal it sends chills down my spine and into my marrow. Normal, not like a neighbor with a power drill in one hand and a subwoofer in the other. Not like a passenger she can often meet in a subway or you can often meet in a subway or on public transport. Not like a coworker at the next table at the open plan office. And not even like a friend who only differs from other humans in his constant insistence. All of them looked normal, as I would expect them to be, with their own downsides without any superpowers. And Slavia was also cute? Obviously, look at her. I glanced at her stealthily, not knowing what to say. Sorry, I wanted to show you around the camp, but was ran off my feet. I didn't miss anything while on my own, I guess. Are you sure you haven't missed anything at all? She smiled so brightly that I had to drop my eyes in confusion. Well, how would I know? It's my first day here. Okay, and what have you seen so far? I've seen the square, the canteen, the football field, and what about the beach? Just from afar. You really should go there. Let's do it together. Yeah, okay, we will. Her naturalness started to scare me, but then I thought, what if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to be, and this world looks strange only to me, while for them it is normal? Maybe I was thrown into the past. Yeah, that would explain a lot. Can I ask a stupid question? No. Just silent. Slavia smiled and stood up from the table. It's late. Can you find the way to Olga by yourself? Of course I can, but why should I go there? She'll settle you with someone. What for? Probably this question seems stupid because Slavia bursted into good-natured laughter. You need to sleep somewhere, right? That makes sense. Fine, I'll be off then. Good night. Wow, he's just like, can I ask a question? She's like, nope, and she just leaves. It's strange that she left in such a hurry. I agree. A bundle of keys left in the door lock caught my attention. I was going to catch up to Slavia, but where does she live? And knocking on every door during the middle of the night didn't seem like a good idea. That's true. I'm tempted to take the keys. I mean, like, otherwise they're just gonna what? They're just gonna sit there in the door. I am a little worried about, like, what if they think you stole the keys? You're a bad person. I guess I'll take them. I'd rather take them. I'll give them back tomorrow because who knows what happens here at night. Such thoughts gave me chills. It's me who needs to be careful here in the first place. I feel like he's overly suspicious, gonna be honest. The night, though dark, wasn't silent at all. You could hear chirping crickets, the songs of the night birds, and the rustling trees from everywhere. A sudden desire to follow Slavia's advice and go to the camp leader's cabin appeared. I mean, it's true. What, you just gonna stay out middle of the night all night? I don't know why, but the sight of an unknown bronze builder of communism put me in a constructive mood. Why? I sat on a bench and started to recall everything that happened today. That was all my constructive mood could offer. Here was much brighter than near the canteen, and tardy pioneers were running by, so this place didn't seem scary at all. Bus, summer camp, girls. I was so tired from everything new and strange that I could not come up with a single explanation for what was going on. I heard a barely noticeable rustle nearby. I shivered and looked in that direction. A girl, reading a book. Oh, hey, look, it's Lena. I decided to move closer and talk. She was the only new person I had met here without exchanging even a few words. Hi, what are you reading? Lena was so surprised that she even jumped. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. Never mind. She blushed and stared at the book again. So what are you reading? On the cover was written, Gone with the Wind. I mean, I have no idea. I don't know anything about Gone with the Wind. I'm realizing you can just hit save. Let's try and relate to her. A good book. Thanks. Honestly speaking, I hadn't read it, but I think that such literature suits her very well. Lena didn't seem to be interested in continuing the conversation. Well, if I'm bothering you. No. She answered while still looking at the book. Can I sit beside you for a while? Why? And really, why? Maybe just because I was very tired and having company is better than being alone. And maybe I wanted to try and find something out from her. I carefully examined Lena. But no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I'm not allowed to? Feel free. But if I'm bothering you, no, you're not. I can leave, just say. Everything's alright. Okay then. I sat on the end of the bench carefully. After such an intense talk, staying here was the last thing I wanted, but it wouldn't be nice to just stand up and leave. That didn't really go well, huh? Lena hadn't answered anything. It seems I made a fool out of myself. I bet if Ulyana was here, she'd have a good laugh at me. Do you enjoy being here? I recalled that Slavia's question and thought it would be a good start for a conversation. Yes. She smiled slightly. I guess I like it too. Lena definitely isn't very sociable and probably can't carry on a meaningless conversation as easily as Slavia. But there was something about her that attracted attention, like a momentary glimpse of a reflection in a glass on a rainy autumn evening. Who even goes there, first of all? Just like, as like, you know what she's like? She's like a reflection on a rainy glass of an autumn evening. Like, are you a poet? Like, who talks like that? Anyway, sorry. Which makes you turn around and stare into darkness, searching for something that you saw out of the corner of your eye. Of course, you weren't able to distinguish or understand what it was, but it still felt so tempting. Lena was still reading the book without paying any attention to my presence, and I had no intention of asking her anything about this camp or this world in general. Beautiful night. Yes. How in the world would you start a conversation with her? It's late. I have to go. Yeah, it's quite late. Good night. Night. There was something strange about this girl. At first glance, she is a typically shy and modest pioneer girl, but the mystery of Lena took its own place in the massive list of mysteries about this camp, which I had started to put together in my head. Yeah, it's nothing but questions. A lazy evening. There's nothing like a good time with nothing to do. You could go and talk to What's-Her-Face and get your cabin so you knew where you were going to sleep for the night. Oh, there we go. He finally did it. All right. I headed towards Olga's cabin. The light in the house was on. Hello, Semyon. You're quite late. Yeah, I went for a walk to look around the camp. All right. You will be sleeping here. She pointed her finger at one of the beds. Right here? I was a bit surprised. Yeah, is something wrong? We are out of free cabins anyway. The camp leader smiled, but I rather think it was just out of politeness. You do want to be a decent pioneer, don't you? There was a clear emphasis on the word decent. Yep, sure. I was lost in thought for a moment. Don't you mind it, mademoiselle? She looked at me oddly, with surprise and some offense in her eyes. A pioneer should respect their elders, Olga said strictly. Of course he should. No one argues with that. I blathered, not realizing what was wrong. Shouldn't you also? She stared at me. Under such a gaze, even Mithril, forged by the best dwarf masters from the deepest dungeons, would melt. Haha, Lord of the Rings reference. Well done. Should I what? Wow, this guy is an idiot. He puts his foot in his mouth really bad. What's up, Toots? Annoyance and a lack of understanding made me raise my voice. You must address adults appropriately. Probably because she doesn't like you because you're acting like an idiot. Yeah, of course there was a lot of strange things here, but this girl is just a couple of years older than me, or maybe even younger. But I decided not to argue. It's just a few minutes ago I would have never called her an adult. I have to admit that she was also given a strong character, and in any case I wasn't in a position to argue, so stop acting like a moron. As you say, ma'am, I mumbled. There you go. That's much better. That is how a decent pioneer should conduct himself. And now it's time to sleep. Honestly speaking, I was going to become neither a decent nor an indecent pioneer. Just yesterday, I wasn't going to become a pioneer at all. But do I have a choice now? If you don't want to, we'll have to make you. That's the motto Olga was probably going to use. I mean, you know, it's possible. I don't know. I climbed onto the bed and closed my eyes only to realize how tired I was after today. Something hammered in my head awfully, as if my brains had started a night shift, and they seemed to be aimed more at rolling steel than working on something more sensitive. The bus flew through my mind. Ah, yes, the dream. And the square with the monument. The canteen full of pioneers, and the malicious face of Ulyana. Slavia. Lena. And even recalling Alyssa didn't give me too much of a negative feeling. I mean, you know, not yet. What if I'm here for good? It's true. It's an important question. Day deux. Beautiful. All right, we are about an hour in, so we will, as soon as we have the opportunity, we will give it a save. He was having a dream, but we will resume that next time. Boop. Okay. Fantastic. So, that'll be a great place to call this one. Lots of questions and lots of words that I can't pronounce because A, stutter, B, American. And I barely speak English. So, lots of things that are very hard to pronounce. But, you know, it is what it is. We will get through it, and it's there's a lot going on. We will see whether it is good or not. It's gonna be honest, in some ways it already grabs me less than the other one did, than Take the Dream or whatever it's called. But obviously it's a different game. The other one was an RPG, obviously, and it had like an interactive thing, whereas this one you're just mostly reading. And that's obviously fine and everything, but the other one grabbed me more initially. This one is not grabbing me as much, but that's not to say it won't be good. That's just saying that it's not quite initially as grabbing as the other one was for me, but we'll see what happens with it nonetheless. Anyway, yeah, so that is going to call it for this one, and I think that's everything. I think this will be the second and last video going out today. The time is late, and I was going to record completely normally today, but there was a lot that came up today which pushed my time back by lots of hours, and it is much later than I would normally be recording. So I think that'll probably be where we call this one, and then Monday we'll hop back to it normal as normal can be, and we will see more about this game, and we'll hop back to Saints Row. Anyway, that is going to call it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.